All right, we got time for the sixes. Sixes connect to the sixth sphere on the tree, which is tiferet, and it ruled by the sun. I'll show you here. It means beauty is tiferet. And so the sun brings everything to its peak level, and it makes everything warm in the heart. And it's whenever any of these aspects of the cards, elements, are at their best and the brightest. Even the Six of Swords is like when your mind is thinking the most clearest and its best. I'll show you. Here's the Six of Wands. So this is a guy and his horse have been practicing for a year to win a horse race. And then they did. And now they're peaking. And then they win the award and they're paraded around their town and everybody honors them. And they're at the best of their whole career. This is a great day and great accomplishment. And then if you count the branches on the wands, there's 12, just like 12 months of the year. And then also the guy wears a Caesar's wreath. And in ancient times in the Olympics was held every single year. And so when he won the sport event, you would get a Caesar's wreath and you would be Caesar for the day. And so it shows a year's time. So when you get this card, it's like people that are working maybe as a team for a big goal that it takes time to accomplish. And then they finally do achieve it within a year or close to a year's time. But the guy has a Caesar's wreath, so that's his award. But then he's also holding up the laurel wreath, which is the horse's award. And he's holding it up as if it's his own. And then you see the horse look back at him with that look of like, hey, that's mine. Like you're showing everybody off like it's yours, but really I did all the hard work. I was the horse that you rode its back. You just had to sit there, basically. You know? It's like, what about me? But he has the right hand. Yeah, his right hand has the wand with the laurel wreath. And so after being told, he gives her the award. And then she's green, just like green with envy, jealous. And before she grows resentment, he gives her the award. So the trees always tell advice, or wands advice. And so this advice is just give credit where credit's due and thank the ones that helped you in your success, or they'll grow resentment and become your enemy. But this guy usually does because he has his right hand. But he only does give her the award and the acknowledgement and recognition after she had to say something. It's pretty cool, her look. It's pretty, she's like rolling her eyes. This one, Six of Cups. This is when the heart is at its peak. So I guess wands is like when your ambition is finally at your peak, like you won the Oscar or you won the Pulitzer or something like that, like finally. So Six of Cups, it's when the heart is at its peak level. So this could be like unconditional love feeling and just the heart of hearts card. I like to think of like Romeo and Juliet kind of style, or like West Side Story, where it's forbidden love. So this is a rich boy who cannot be with the poor girl who works out in the yard, and they cannot be together. And then there's a guard in the background who's walking away. But normally that guard would keep the rich boy from being with the poor girl because they're not supposed to be in love because they're from two different social families. And he can only marry other rich people, not the poor girl. But they stare at each other every single day and they have a big crush and they fall in love. And he sees her for being her true, authentic self. And he doesn't care because love is love. And so the guard sees that and he cannot allow the love to not be together because that's a big sin. It's just not right. And so he walks away. And so when the guard is down, the boy can go be with the girl and they connect as one. The restrictions keeping them together has been lifted and they finally get to be together. He proposes to her as he gives the flower to her. And then he asks her to come live with him up inside the house where she can get her foot in the door, seat at the table, and get a whole better life that has better opportunities. It's like that Cinderella story. And then if you count the symbols, you connect to Saturn energy. Because Saturn, but Saturn, it connects to the number 30. It's like connects to the Saturn return. The Saturn return comes to your life every 30 years, and it kind of wreaks havoc, kind of kicks you in the pants, kind of forces you to grow up. But every single time, like Saturn has restriction and things that take time to slow down, you want to go for your goals, but it just seems like it takes forever. Even when you're like turning around 30 years old, it's a time you're trying to discover who you are, what's your purpose, what's my life passion, what am I supposed to be doing? And I want to become an adult. I want to start making money, but I want to do something that could be like a career or something I really love. I just can't figure it out. I'm just exploring. But just imagine when you're like 33 years old, Saturn finally leaves. And then around that time, you start to connect to like your passions and what's more like your authentic self. So it's like that restrictions finally leaving. Just like now, you can finally be recognized for being your authentic self. And then you get someone better than you reaches down and picks you up and gives you a better job or another foot in the door somewhere and gives you like this upgrade. It's because they loved you just because you're just being authentic to yourself. And so it just shows how the Saturn comes in and finally there's no more restriction. See if you count the flowers, they're like little pentagrams. And so there's 6 of them because they're each in the 6 cups. And then the pentagram has 5 points. So 6 times 5 is 30. So it shows like the Saturn energy was there, but then now it's leaving. So no more restriction. And that's why the guard walks away. He's, not keeping them apart. Yeah, anytime like people get this card, it's like, am I going to get the call back when I sent in my resume? I've been trying to get this job for a long time. It just seems like it's just taking forever or they don't see me or something. This is like someone finally calls you back and invites you into that company. Maybe even they come back and ask you to be their, the partner. Or someone recognizes you, finally gets you more seen, gives you that new opportunity. It's like finally, it just seems like it takes so frustrating. But this is like, just a big sigh of relief. Then we got 6 of Swords. This card looks pretty sad, but it's when the mind is actually thinking at its peak level. So you see a woman who is covered in a shawl and she feels shame because she's not connected to her inner child. So she sits next to a little child. Sometimes this card can be literal, where it's like there's children in your life that you can't even connect to because you just feel shame. So she's in a rocky situation in the rocky water. And a guy who she's known from the past, because he has a black steering rod thing, so it helps steer the boat. But black is Saturn is like load of time and deals with stuff in the past. So sometimes it's someone from the past who's a close friend, or even like a loved one or family. They come into your life, give you a wake-up call, and say, "Don't you think it's time to change? Like stuff's hit the fan, or you're at your boiling point. You just get worse and worse, and it's like a downward spiral. It's time to change your life. You kind of detached from the light within you, like the inner child, and you're kind of detached from other people. You're kind of covered up and depressed. So it's like, let me help you." And a lot of times when people do have people like this in their life, you push them away and you feel like competitive, you know, and you're reluctant to change or face the facts or look at yourself in the mirror. So it's like advice just as when people come to you like this to say, thank you. Thank you for caring and actually trying to be a friend. And then sometimes they set you up with better opportunities, like a new job or new living situation. And then it steers you out of the rocky situation into the clear water where it's calmer. And even in the clear water, you can look inside the water like a mirror. In the rocky water, you can't see your own reflection, but in the calm water, you can. And then it's really get to see your life how it really is, and your mind starts to think really clear. And then from there, you get to see what you need to change. And then you sometimes got to hit that emotional rock bottom before you actually change. You kind of got to get disgusted with how things have gone or how you've allowed it to go too far. It could be like real dramatic, or it could just be like, I just can't fit into my old favorite jeans anymore. And you get in the mirror and go, oh my God, what happened? And then you go, well, I need to change it. It's like that. It could be severe, or it could just be your own like realization. But if you count the swords, they're supposed to be grouped up to connect to the tree of life. let's do it. So she has two on her body, like these two swords. And then so two is Hokmah, wisdom. So like these two wise advice is like right in her head, right over her. And then on the other side, there's four swords, and four connects to the fourth sphere, which is Hesed, which means mercy and kindness. So it's like someone's showing you mercy and kindness, and they're giving you wise advice. So it's like really smart for you to listen, and so it helps your life. They give you a wake-up call. And so you should be grateful for people that tell you you should stop doing something that ruin your life and to get out of it, and they transition you into a new, better life or a new life situation, maybe a new job, or get you out of a bad neighborhood or a bad relationship or something. And then the last card, 6 of Pentacles. So this is in relationships when you feel at your peak level, because pentagrams can be a relationship, it could be your job, it could be your health. But with this card specifically, it's like a guy who's rich who just got new money, and he's giving out money to other people that used to be in his situation, and he's treating them with mutual respect and fairness. So people come to him and they say, hey, can I have money so I can buy a meal ticket to get food? And he always says yes the first time, but he says no the second time when people try to abuse his charity or take him, manipulate him, or they don't really respect him. They just want his money. And so you see this guy has a red meal ticket in his pocket. And so it's like he already has a meal ticket. And so this rich guy is giving him the scales of fairness. He's like, I'm only treating you fairly, and I'm treating you the same way that you're treating me. So it's like, why don't you go buy food, and then next time you are hungry, come back. But this woman, she doesn't have a meal ticket, so he gives her the money. And then you see the green boots the rich guy wears, just lets you know that he's brand new to the situation. So he's happy to be able to give money, and he's still kind of learning who he should give it to and who he shouldn't, and how not to be a pushover. Kind of like when someone wins the lottery and everyone asks for money, but he has to learn to say no. He has to learn to set healthy boundaries, and he has to learn how to read people and how their honesty is. Do they like me only because of my money, or do they like me because I'm me? So it's like being at the position is like really great to be able to help out people, but it just advises you to be wise about it and treat people with mutual respect, treat people with human dignity. And he always says yes first. As you see, the guy already has a meal ticket. Because if you said, because it's easier to say no the second time than it is the first time. Because you're nice if you give money, but it's not nice if you continue to enable people and spoil them. And you don't look like a bad person if you said no the second time. You'd be like understanding. So you can count the pentacles. See how they go with like the tree of life. So on the left side of the card, you connect to negativity pillar, which is being outside. So there's 3 pentacles connects to Bina, which is understanding. And so he understands she needs money. And then on the right side is 2 sphere, like Hokmah, wisdom. So he treats the guy, he's wise to know that he's already has a meal ticket. And then the top card is Keter, which is how you connect to God. And so he's connected to the top of his head. So he just knows that he's connecting to like godly insights. He sees kind of like a big picture. He can kind of see what's going on. So he's like really well balanced. He has like the whole 3 godheads over surrounding him. So he's really in control of like to his own respect, you know? Because it took a long time for him to get that money and that status. It takes like self-respect. And so when people come and take it away, he doesn't allow people to take away that respect. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm only treating you just like you treat me. And then once you learn to respect me, I'll respect you. But he respected himself first.